Hi there, I'm Jake.
And I'm Ashley.
Welcome to the fifth in-step of our game here in the Blind Eternities Tavern. You know, sometimes it gets a little chilly outside, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's actually raining right now, which is about as chilly as it gets here in Southern California.
Yes.
So tonight we're talking about what we do to play Magic when we're just on a night in, sometimes alone, and just hanging out listening to the rain.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about digital platforms.
Nice.
Do you want to tell us what we're drinking tonight?
Yeah, I figured that tonight was the kind of night where we needed kind of a cozy drink. And so I have made for us a grog, which is a shot of espresso spiced with some dark brown sugar, some cloves, some cinnamon, and some nutmeg, and a little bit of butter with some delicious rum. And then I figured that would go down really well with some homemade pumpkin bread. So I brought that too. So that's what we're having today. And it is a hot drink, which is perfect for a night like tonight. Just kind of warms you from your tummy to your heart to your soul.
Absolutely. And I'm dressed very cozy, but I might not wear this the whole time because I'm still pretty warm here.
He's hot.
This is as cold as it gets. It's like 55 degrees.
It's 42 degrees outside.
Okay, it's a little chilly.
It's actually kind of cold.
It's actually cold.
All
right.
In California...
Here, that's actually cold.
It's actually cold.
Yes.
It could maybe almost snow in the mountains nearby tonight.
It just might. So I've prepared my notes on one of these little guys that comes in the bundle packs. I figure it's important that we find a use for all of the things magic related. So let's begin the discussion talking about digital platforms. Right now, the main digital platform is Arena. And Ashley just downloaded it to try it out.
I sure did.
Would you like to give us a moderately biased review?
I have thoughts. So originally when I went to sign up, I was trying to sign in and it kept coming up with an error code for my email. And it turns out if you sign up for Arena, but you already have a Commander account, they automatically link it.
Yeah, the companion app, the Arena thing, the Wizards website, any Secret Lair stuff, that's all the same account.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited. I went to go download it. And when you create an account, it gives you the option for how much Magic have you played. It says, have you played 0 Magic, a little Magic, or a lot of Magic? And so I went in and I got it all set up and I selected a lot of Magic. And then when I went to submit my account, it popped up with an error code. And this happened multiple times. And I was like, I wonder what happens if I just log in with my like Wizards of the Coast account. And so it let me log in, but it didn't allow me to select how much Magic I've played. So I don't know if the tutorial looks different.
I don't know if the tutorial
or
adapts.
if it like tracks how much, like how many events you've been part of or something like that. Because like
I can't imagine because you've been to a lot of events.
I've been to a lot of events, and it
walked you through
everything. It walked me through everything. And I disagree with some of the choices it made because I'm a much more aggressive player. And it was like, no, you're going to lose your creatures. And I was like, I know, that's the point. I'm attacking with 4 creatures. It only has 2 blockers. At least 2 of my creatures are getting through. And it was like, oh no, that's so bad. So I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. Also, as somebody who grew up playing Legend of Zelda, there's this sprite in Legend of Zelda, it's a fairy, which most people know about, called Navi. And she goes, hey, listen, like constantly, and then tells you useless information that you already know. In the Arena app, there's a tiny little ball of light, which just so happens to be basically the same animation as Navi. And the entire time it spoke to me, I was just so annoyed because I just wanted to be able to like, sure, show me the mechanics of Arena, but I know how to play a game of Magic. Please let me get through this. And it requires that you play through 5 games of Magic. And maybe that would be interesting if you got to try different decks in different colors, or you at least got to select like what color you wanted to play, but it forces you to play mono white which makes me so angry. And then you play against like 4 different colors, and then it ends with like kind of facing off against Nicole Bolas to kind of tell this story of like why you as a planeswalker have forgotten how to do this, how to summon, how to spell cast. And so the lore element of it is great. And I also like the way that it represented some of the personalities of the opponent decks that were like the computer that you were playing against. That was sort of fun. But yeah, it just felt a little frustrating as somebody who knew how to play the game that there was sort of this unskippable content. It felt very much like the beginning of a Pokemon game. So it was fine, I think. I don't know. So that was my experience. I didn't love the way that I got introduced to Arena. It felt a little bit clunky and frustrating at first, but now that I've played like a game or two, I feel like I'm starting to get the mechanics, and it really does feel a lot more intuitive than I initially thought that it would, which is really nice. It actually reminds me of Hearthstone.
Yeah, and I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
In that tutorial, they have the little personality types like you were saying, and they have some of those elements that they pretty clearly borrowed from the way that Hearthstone handles their mechanics. The option to click and drag or click and then target, and the versatility of the app is just really nice because everyone plays Magic a little bit differently. If you want to tap your lands ahead of time, you can. If you want to just let the computer auto-tap everything, you lose a bunch. Maybe I lose a bunch. You might build your land base better. But it's cool the way that Arena is set up. I played through the tutorial when it was in beta, and it didn't have any of that. And then I played through the tutorial on like day 1 of launch, and it was a fairly different experience. Still kind of the same, play through a bunch of games. It's very hand-holdy, but you only ever have to do that once, and it's very clearly geared at somebody that's never played Magic before. For a fairly complex system, we take for granted a lot of the things about tapping lands and doing all that kind of stuff, but if you have zero exposure to this type of trading card game, they do a really good job of walking through that stuff.
I would agree with that. So again, my frustration comes from the fact that I've played Magic for a while, and so a lot of this information I already knew, and it was unskippable.
Yeah.
However, when I say that it feels like you're playing a Pokemon game, I would say that Pokemon games have one of the lowest barrier to entry in terms of games to play. They do a very good job of pretty much, as long as you can read, or like, as long as you can read, you're going to be able to kind of get through the beginning where you learn the mechanics of the game, you learn how to like catch Pokemon, and you have like very clear, explicit, like this is your goal. And I think this is very similar in terms of the way that it feels. If I was a new player and I had not played Magic the Gathering before, I think I would have a relatively good understanding of what all of the parts of a Magic card did. Maybe my only feedback is it doesn't actually, for as much as it holds your hand, it doesn't talk about abilities at all, which I thought was very interesting.
That's just because those beginner decks are really light on that aspect.
They are, but they start off with having 0 abilities, and then as the game continues, you like win cards.
Sure, and they like shuffle it into the deck.
And they shuffle it into the deck, and some of those do have abilities, which matter. The only ability that they mention at all is flying.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very funny. They're like, oh no, this one has flying, so it can jump over and attack you directly, and you can't block. But it doesn't mention you can't block unless you have a flyer, so that I feel like might be kind of confusing for new players. So there's some aspects of it that I think as a new player maybe weren't covered super well.
That's
but
fair.
I think there is some level of like, you play the game, you learn what's happening.
Yeah, and I think there's also a little bit of the fact that this was designed for PC.
Yeah.
And then kind of ported to mobile.
Yeah.
Because on PC, you just kind of hover over the thing and it comes up with all of the different descriptions of the different abilities, with all of the oracle text and reminder text and everything. And it's really easy to read all that. If you're playing on a cell phone, especially, you have like a extra small screen cell phone.
My little tiny cell phone.
It becomes a little bit trickier because it is actually tiny.
Yeah, and some of the controls I think work less well.
Yeah.
Like one of the things it wanted me to do was drag a card and drop it on top of the card that I wanted to block. It turns out that functionality is very difficult on my phone. I don't know if it's difficult on everybody else's phone, but that doesn't work super well on my phone. So I literally had to be like, Jake, I can't make this work. Please come help me. And it turns out I'm dumb. You can just like tap one and then the other. So they do make it accessible for phones. Yeah. So in terms of a new player experience, I think that it is just about as frustrating as learning to play Magic with paper cards. With the extra steps of it feels like you are really legitimately walked through like the first game. And they also do kind of a very good job of funneling from the like zero control, you have to do exactly what they want you to do in the first couple of games, to I wouldn't do that if I were you, but you can still make that mistake if you want to.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a good way to do it, because then it shows you what happens if you don't do it the way that they recommend.
Sure.
Which I think is nice.
Yeah, and I think it's important they have some guardrails on it.
Yeah.
And then take them off and say, now you try doing your own thing. You're welcome to lose.
Absolutely.
But for all its warts and flaws, it got me thinking about the first digital platform that I ever played on, and that was Magic Apprentice.
Okay.
Which was developed from 1996 to 1999.
Cute.
It is an ancient system. I'm pretty sure you type in the IP address of the person you want to play against. This thing is the least secure platform ever. Directly link up. It's got the full Magic library. You can import cards by text file. So new sets were available day of, which was really cool.
That's
so you
actually
can play with the
really
latest
cool.
stuff. Because this is a completely open platform, you don't have to pay for anything. It's like Cockatrice or a lot of the other modern platforms where you can really build whatever deck you want, play against your friends. And the only functions that they had little glowing icons for the parts of a turn, and you could click on which one you were currently on, and then it had the ability to shuffle the deck. And if you drag a card into the deck, it would shuffle it into the deck, and you can open up a window where you can see all the cards in the deck and drag a card out of it. But that's it. No other rules were enforced. So, like, if you wanted to tap your lands, you tapped your lands. If you wanted to untap your lands, you could just untap your lands. If you wanted to move a creature onto your opponent's side of the board or shuffle it into your opponent's deck, I think permissions issues were a thing that they resolved. You could do that. So, completely
So just like real life.
Yeah, just like real life. If you want to grab your opponent's cards and start moving them around the board, you can, but shouldn't in a game of Magic. And the digital platforms, well, that digital platform was kind of the same thing. And this was pre-Magic Online really being as robust as it is now. It's been over a long development time that's become a much more stable platform. But also, I think Magic Online...
30 years since
still
that came out?
looks a little dated. Yeah, and I think they're trying to develop a modern version of Apprentice, which I imagine will be a little bit nicer. But it was essentially the Moxfield hand tester. That was the level of functionality in this. Actually, less than that. But I remember playing against friends on that, and everyone was trying to build the most busted deck, and we had no idea what we were doing. So we built terrible decks, and they performed worse than even the standard decks we were playing at the time. But it's funny to hear complaints about Arena, about how the system, it's a little clunky with the way that it handles certain inputs, and it's like,
I think I could forgive them
so
if I could
better.
randomly shuffle cards into my opponent's deck.
Right.
That sounds incredible. I want that functionality. Can I have the mess with my opponent's side of the board bad manners option?
But that would be really funny.
It'd be really funny. I am so excited. Sorry. Continue.
I was going to say, they need to include an emote in Arena that literally flips the table when you concede.
Oh, that would be so funny. Okay, in terms of emotes, this is something that I am so excited about. I did compare it to Hearthstone earlier, and that's because I played Hearthstone a lot in 2000.
It was like 2016.
2006? It would have been 2016.
Yeah.
I was very pregnant at the time. And I was staying at home. I wasn't working during that time because nobody wants to hire a pregnant lady, unfortunately. But I had way too much time on my hands, and so I spent all day just playing Hearthstone. And you had 6 emotes at the time. I don't know if you can add emotes now or if that's something you can purchase, but at the time I don't think you could. So you would pick a character, and those were the emotes that you had, basically. And one of the things that I saw immediately as I logged into Arena, they have the option for the avatar emotes related to the most recent set, which I am obviously very excited about. And
did you click on them?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're
They have
voiced.
associated sound bites,
They're
yeah.
voiced.
Yes.
I'm so stoked. So they're voiced, one, which is incredible, but two, I am so excited because the ability to blow up somebody's creature and then be like in Zuko's voice, that's rough, buddy.
It is the new fastest way to get muted
Yes,
in a competitive
I'm
game.
so excited. Or the ability to, like, if somebody blows up my board, I can be like, no, my cabbages! Like, that's incredible. And that's part of the same emote package. So, again, I'm complaining about, like, the tutorial experience at the beginning of the game. But, like, I've played one game. So, like, I don't think I should be complaining as much as I currently am. I think a lot of it is me just kind of learning a new system. And as Jake knows, I love playing games after I know how to play them.
Yeah.
I get really frustrated with learning new games.
No, it's fair. And there is a learning curve to Arena.
Yeah,
it is a different system.
It is a different system. And I think it is something where, like, I also have a harder time paying attention to what's going on in Arena just because I'm not used to it. So I was trying to play something because in my brain I had the right amount of mana to play it. And I hadn't played my land for turn yet. So I was one short. And I was like, why isn't this working? And Jake was like, you didn't play your land.
You only have 2 mana.
And I was like, oh, right. I know how magic works. But the fact that I, like, saw the land in my hand.
Yeah, and you're like, obviously this is turn 6. I have 6 land. We're ready to go.
So I did the math and was like, can play this. But yeah, for some reason my brain just was like, yeah, no, you've played your land for turn.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to take me a little bit to get used to it as a digital platform and seeing the board. Because it is set up different from how I set up my board also when I play in front of me.
Yeah.
And I wish you could kind of, like, organize your board systems in front of you so, like, you see it a little bit differently. That would be really nice. But again, those are, like, minor complaints.
It's also standardized, though, so you can't hide stuff and do weird stuff with your board.
Well, but there's also the ability to, like, you see it, but the other person just sees it in the standard format.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you don't have to... Again, that's like an ease of play thing, and I'm sure, like, that would mess with their systems and make so many difficulties. The more control you give the client side, the more they're gonna break it.
Yeah.
They're totally gonna break it. So I get why they can't do that, but yeah, I think, again, I'm complaining, but I really think it's just gonna take an adjustment for me to be like, oh, I'm used to this now, and then once I get used to their formatting and seeing it kind of in a digital platform and seeing my lands as, like, half a card instead of a whole card.
Yeah, sure.
And, like, also being able to, like, count a little bit better because the way that they have it stacked makes it a little bit hard for me to, like, count things easily on my tiny, tiny screen.
Yeah,
I think a lot of this is also I'm playing on a small cell phone instead of playing, like, on a computer. But no, again, I have complaints. I think it's actually great.
Yeah.
And as much as I was complaining about it, like, those are super minor things. And as somebody who has played video games, like, in beta and, like, seen, like, things like that, this feels like a complete game.
Sure.
And it feels like there is definitely quality of life updates that they have made. And it feels like they do really understand kind of their player base and have made choices based on that player base in general. You know what I mean? So, like, as much as I'm complaining, I think the reality is it's just a new thing for me and I need to get used to the system before I really fully feel good about it. And then I'll probably start complaining about playing in-person Magic.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No one can touch my board in Arena. It's great.
So I think it's a really different experience from in-person Magic.
That's true.
And I do enjoy the fact that I can wake up before the kids, eat breakfast, and play a game of Magic in the morning.
Totally.
I don't have to coordinate with other people. Matchmaking takes like a minute and a half, and I'm ready to go. The platforms hit that critical mass where people are available to play all the time, every format, whatever you want to do. So I can get games in with flubs, which I love playing. It knocks out all my little achievement things really quickly, and it's a fun deck to play.
Totally.
So, like, having a few of those that I can just kind of jam games on is great.
Yeah.
But it's a very different experience from playing with people in person.
It is, yeah.
And I think that there's something really cool about having that physical Magic with the cards and people and actually, you know, playing in person. And so I think it scratches a different itch, I'll say. Because I like the game and the mechanics are great, but I prefer playing with real people.
Yeah, and I do see what you're saying. I think that one of the things I really take advantage of in-person Magic is politicking.
Sure.
And I don't see a way to do
But
that
also,
effectively
that doesn't
here.
matter 1v1.
No, I understand, but I think I enjoy that aspect.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, is like that's an aspect I will never have on Arena.
Yeah,
And
the thing that I'm worried about, so they just announced they're going to open up multiplayer functionality in Arena. They're working on developing that now. I don't know how that will work if you only have access to emotes.
Yeah.
Because you can't really coordinate with people or politic the way that you'd want to. I mean, at best, I'm just going to be making the Yargle sound over and over and over again. Because that's my favorite emote. And it's just like, ribbit.
I will say that That's Rough Buddy becomes even more funny when somebody blows somebody else's thing up. It's less bad manners and
as
more
a third-party spectator.
Yeah, exactly. Something I will say too, I feel like I remember on Hearthstone you could like watch people's games. Can you do that on Arena?
Not generally, no.
Okay, darn.
Yeah, I don't think there's any spectate functionality like that.
I would love to be able to just spectate random people's games. I think that would be really fun. And then to be able to like randomly emote. I love that idea. But okay, I also...
Well, that just brings back thoughts of playing StarCraft 1 Brood War. You could hop into lobbies as a spectator.
Sure.
And then proceed to just flame one of the people the entire game.
So awful.
And that was just what people did.
That's true. I have played enough League of Legends to see what a toxic environment it becomes if you're allowed to talk to people.
If you open up the keyboard, absolutely.
So absolutely not. But yeah, no, I do think that's interesting. And I think that is going to be something where they're going to have a hard time getting people to move to multiplayer in Arena because a lot of the benefits of multiplayer in paper Magic are not the same as... You don't get the same benefits in online play, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the funny things about Magic Online that is allowing it to stick around. One, it has the full library of Magic cards in it. The other is you can trade cards with other people. So you can actually build a collection, and it works much more like the physical card game. And some of these people that have played Magic Online for the last, 25 years are not keen to just jump to a new platform and have to restart their collection.
Absolutely.
But the third thing is because you have that open communication and functional multiplayer and all of the formats accessibility and queues that pop up for every tournament and every format on a daily basis with all sorts of crazy alternate events, it's just a very robust gaming experience with a terrible user interface.
Totally.
It looks like it was made in Windows 95 because it was kind of made in Windows 95.
Yeah.
So I think there's things that they can implement from that in Magic Arena. And they've started bringing in some of those older cards. They have a vintage cube that they had playable in Magic Arena,
cool.
which was awesome. And,
does Arena do events like that, where it's kind of like limited specific events
that
aren't like skills?
Yeah, they do. But they're always limited time frame.
Oh, that's rough.
So it's like it'll be available for a week or two, and then they cut it off, and they'll bring it back every once in a while.
Sure.
But only occasionally does something become evergreen.
Gotcha. So it's like ARAM kind of in...
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I mean, I dig that. One thing that I will say, so I've talked about my experience playing Magic as a woman who is very femme presenting. And I definitely have the nerves whenever I walk into a new store, right? Of the like, is this going to be a good community, or am I going to get people following me around and trying to teach me how to play Magic and touching my cards without my permission? Like, how uncomfortable is this experience going to be for me? Yeah. No, but really, that is a concern that I have anytime that I walk into a new Magic environment. And that goes for like tournament play as well. Because at my local game store, I know the people there for the most part. And if we have a new person who comes in who is making it uncomfortable for people like me, they are very good about stepping in pretty quickly. Like they've gotten to the point where they can see my uncomfortable face and they will come over and talk to me to like fix that situation.
Yeah.
Which is something I really appreciate about Lost Levels, which is again our local game store.
It's really important.
It's really important.
Yeah.
However, that is not my experience in every game store
Yeah.
and in every tournament environment. There's a lot more advocating for myself that I feel like I have to do. And something that is really nice about Arena is, I might get somebody who flames me, but they're not going to be able to bully the table into not thinking that I'm playing correctly. Or they're not going to be able to, like, again, as much as I think it's very funny to, like, be able to shuffle something into somebody's cards, the fact that they can't touch my cards.
Yeah. And the fact that
really
they can't say,
nice.
you're playing that card wrong.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like, no, the computer's
It's like,
handling
no, the
it.
computer's telling me how to play this
Yeah,
card.
trust me, I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have to fight that like extra battle that I have to kind of like
That's fair.
mentally prepare myself for when I play in a new environment. And that was really refreshing, actually, going into this, being able to be like, oh, actually, like, I don't know this person I'm playing against, and they can't play mental games with me. And I don't have to have this extra layer of they look at me and think I don't know what I'm talking about, which is a huge problem, and it makes playing it really is, and it makes playing Magic incredibly frustrating at times.
Yeah, no, that's
for me.
totally fair.
And it's always like are they being condescending because I'm a woman, or are they being condescending because I'm playing poorly?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the like I forget that I can play Magic well because and like I've told you there is like this additional stress that I feel sometimes when my decks don't perform well if I don't know that person, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think I'm bad at Magic and dumb.
Yeah.
And it's not just the like regular whatever.
That's me.
The like they already assume that I'm bad at Magic.
Yeah.
And so I feel this like extra level of like I have to show up and perform well every time. And if I don't, then it reflects on women in general playing Magic.
Right.
And I know that's a silly thing to say on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's a true thing to say.
Yeah.
And so Arena is something where that kind of weirdly evens the playing field. And it's something that like I didn't realize how much it's on my mind stepping into a new environment. So being able to step into this as a new environment and then realize like I legitimately like took a breath after my first turn and was like, they don't know what I look like. Like they don't know anything about me. I can do whatever and they'll just assume whatever they assume and it doesn't matter. And that was like a really freeing experience to me as somebody that kind of really struggles with that sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why on Arena, you just make snap judgments about people based on the avatar that they choose.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyone running Nykthos is just a terrible person. I don't know what to say. You know, Duskmourn was kind of a weird story.
Yeah, everyone who plays Liliana likes hot women. It's me. I'm playing Liliana. That's my avatar.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of comes to mind with Arena and Magic Online is this push that Wizards has done pretty much forever to try to have that feed into physical gameplay. And they did that on Magic Online by offering this redemption program. Where if you were able to collect every card in a set, they would send it to you in real cards.
That's actually crazy.
And so for a while, what people would do to fund their Magic Online play is collect an entire set of foils, get the physical set of foils, and then sell those and use that to buy the stuff on Arena to keep playing, or not Arena, on Magic Online, to keep playing on Magic Online.
Do they still do that?
The program's changed a little bit.
I mean, that makes sense.
But my understanding is that there is still a redemption system that's similar to that. If that's not right, let me know. I've done zero research onto this. Magic Online is not a platform I frequent.
Sure.
But Magic Arena has kind of a similar thing with their Arena Direct program. I think that's what it's called. But it's tournaments you can enter where if you are able to win 7 games or whatever the full rack is, you get physical product. Sometimes
Wow.
those are collector booster boxes, sometimes they're regular play booster boxes, and sometimes they're, invitations to regional tournament type stuff.
That I actually love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And I love the fact that this is a digital platform that's sending you physical rewards.
Yeah.
I cannot think of another game that functions in that
No,
way.
it's super cool. And it's something that they want to encourage because the more avenues they have of you playing Magic, the bigger the game gets, the more people come in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good marketing growth opportunity that doesn't cost them anything. So
Yeah, and
it's
I do
super
think
cool.
that it's a great way to bring in this concept of the gathering,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because Arena is literally the opposite of the gathering. Nobody's gathering. Everyone is just playing in their
Let's
office
all hang
in
out
the
together
morning
and play
or
on our phones.
sitting on the toilet playing Magic. I guarantee it. There are so many people that do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Especially during the workday. But yeah, it just yeah.
They all
No.
have Urza avatars. That's how you can tell.
That's how you can tell. If
Yeah.
you're sitting on the toilet.
When you're pooping, you
Urza
switch to
avatar.
Urza.
Yeah. That's really bad.
He's a poop.
He's poop. You're not wrong. No, but yeah, so I do, sorry, back to what I was saying. I do think that it's cool that they are still incentivizing gathering and keeping that as a core aspect of their game and the focus for their player base.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So, on the topic of the gathering and digital platforms, one of the things that's seen a really big jump, pretty much since COVID, has been this sort of webcam play. And for a while, it was very janky, just like, let's all get into Discord together, point our webcams at the table, and we'll play remotely like that. But one of the fairly recent innovations, it's been around for a few years, is Spelltable,
Yes.
which is a really cool platform that allows you to do multicam, but you can keep track of your life total and everything on that. If you don't have a physical space to play, you can also use something like, the Moxfield hand tester and just port that in as a screen grab virtual camera
That's very
to play
cool.
against other people. But then you still have voice chat, you can still type things in, you can have that multiplayer game with real people in real time on a platform that doesn't kind of restrict you in the same way that Magic Arena does.
That's really interesting. Are you able to match with random people still? Or do you
can.
have to?
So that's the
okay.
cool thing about Spelltable is they have a lobby system
Okay.
where you can put up a game and say, hey, I'm looking for a bracket 2 commander game. And, maybe you say this is the commander I'm running or whatever. You have a kind of a pregame discussion, and then somebody plays with the CEDH deck anyways and just blows out the table.
Oh, so like a real life experience.
Yeah. So it really replicates that random table at an LGS, and my understanding is that people frequently are frustrated with the way that people behave, just etiquette-wise.
Same.
So there's a little bit of vetting. A lot of this actually takes place from like Discord servers where people
Okay.
will form their 4-pod ahead of time, where you kind of get a feel for who you're playing against, know that they're coming from the same community, and then everyone hop on Spelltable together. You can set a password on the room so you can, limit who
That
hops
is
in.
very cool.
Yeah. No, it's a really
I would
cool
love
system.
to play a Spelltable. Well, okay. Here's the deal. I have a built-in player partner at all times, which is
Yeah.
very nice about being married to somebody who also likes to play Magic. But no, I want to play. That sounds cool. I want to play on a Spelltable thing just to see what the experience is like.
Yeah. No, a few people at Lost Levels do that occasionally.
Yeah,
so.
Justin from Lost Levels does,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
It's a great way to test for more competitive commander stuff.
I can see that.
Because it's one of those, you don't have to worry about matchmaking so much if you were going into it expecting CEDH.
Yeah, totally.
The only thing you have to worry about is kind of people pairing up and king making in weird ways.
Yeah.
Because it does have that remote thing, but that's also not too different from what you'd face in a regular
I'm
event.
curious what the player knowledge is like. Is this something where people will be like, yeah, my deck is CDH, and then it's super not? Because I've had that experience at like Magic 30
Yeah, no,
and
that-
like our Magic sometimes where I'm like, I'm looking for a CEDH game, and people are like, yeah, my deck is super powerful.
My friends
And
have
then
all told me my deck is CEDH.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then they get blown out by the table because they don't have that full understanding. So I'm curious, if that's ever a problem.
I'm sure it
here.
is. I'm sure that's the sort of thing that happens, and there's no real way around it.
Yeah.
Because
I
even
just
if you
feel
do
bad,
have the
you know?
deck list digitally, there's no way to just put a stamp on it and be like, this is certified CEDH.
Totally.
Because even if you have a deck that's 85% a CEDH deck, you can completely bring that power level down if that 15% is bad enough or
Totally.
mismatched enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I mean, Spelltable does replicate the real physical experience with all of the other issues that the real physical experience has.
That's super cool.
But on the bright side, you can't smell your opponents.
That's true. So yeah, if you want to play a Spelltable game with us, apparently, let us know, and we'll see if we can figure that out.
Yeah.
That sounds super fun.
We can do that. That'd be fun. Yeah. One of the other things that happened, though, with this big surge of webcam games, and this is the big issue on Spelltable, and why you want to be a little bit careful vetting the people you're playing with, is that cheating kind of runs rampant. Because on a webcam, if your hand moves, hand being hand of cards, moves out of range of the camera, there's nothing to say that you're not taking stuff out of your pocket, rearranging things, setting cards in your lap, doing all sorts of things. And it hasn't really been as big of an issue with Magic because webcam tournaments are a little less common.
Yeah.
But in Yu-Gi-Oh, they actually moved their entire competitive format into a webcam system for about 2 years.
During COVID?
During
or just,
COVID.
Okay, yeah.
And it lasted a bit after COVID, and I think they still have some webcam events. Some people still do that. But it was constant.
Yeah.
There were just constant issues with people bumping the table in a weird way, or their camera would fall down, and when it came back up, they had their monsters, repositioned. All sorts of just shady stuff.
That's rough. So you literally have to have a judge watching every game if you're doing something like that.
The benefit of it is you can just kind of record your games, and sometimes scrubbing back through footage, you find weird anomalies. And this has happened in a couple CEDH things where people aren't actually shuffling, and because you're shuffling on camera, you can see it. And the convention on Spelltable, I think, is you split your deck into 3 parts, and your opponent says like 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1, or whatever. So you arrange your deck.
So there
in
is
that.
still like a...
So there's a level of randomness with it. But that doesn't stop people from, again, being shady during the game or setting things up in a weird way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ultimately there's no real way around that, and try to just find a good group of people to play with, whether you're in person or remote.
That's true. That also leads to the question, I have heard that in Magic the Gathering, there is a strong history of cheating in tournaments.
Pretty much from day one.
Yeah. So how much more cheating is happening in this kind of a game environment, do you think?
I mean, that's always the question about camera phones. Is there more bad stuff happening, or do just more people have cameras?
That's fair.
Is there more cheating in Magic, or are there just cameras on so many games we notice it more often? Realistically, it's probably about the same level of cheating. The people that have a propensity for cheating will cheat whether or not there's a camera on them.
Yeah.
And the people that aren't interested in cheating and actually playing the game, it won't matter whether there's a camera on them or not. So I don't know whether that's gone up or down. I know in the competitive circuits, now there is less cheating than there was.
Okay.
But that's just because the scrutiny is so much higher.
Yeah.
It used to just kind of be accepted that, people are going to do everything they possibly can to win, right? This is the angle shooting thing that's legal in Magic that isn't legal in a lot of other card games.
Totally.
Where if you're able to mislead your opponent, if you're able to bluff that you have action in your hand when you're holding just a basic land, all of that's allowed within the scope of the game.
Yeah.
So then, you can stretch it a little bit and be like, what if I bluff to my opponent that I'm actually holding 3 or 4 cards in my hand, but I'm only holding 1 card, and I'm like playing with that. What if I, drop some of the cards down into my lap so it looks like I don't have a hand, but my hand's just sitting off the table? Is that within the rules? Things like that.
I see,
So it's like, some of it wasn't really cheating, some of it absolutely was. This is like cards up sleeve level of cheating in some of these older events. But yeah, I think now at the big events, you have a judge at either end of the table, both watching like every single move.
So what were the consequences then for cheating if it was so rampant? Like, what happened?
Not a lot.
Okay, what
Some people
happens now?
You get banned.
Okay.
Oh yeah. A lot of people, I think the first offense at like a high profile thing, if you were actually cheating banned,
Yeah.
you get banned for like 3 years.
Okay.
And then after that 3 years, if you come back and you do it again, I don't know if it's banned for life or if it's like an escalating thing.
4 years.
Yeah, right? I don't know. But the game's been around for 35 years, so just give it time, they'll be back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've heard also that there's some issues with when people get banned from one trading card game, jumping ship to a different trading card game. Is that like a thing?
I don't know if that's generally a thing. I know that was a big problem that Lorcana had, where when they first started doing competitive tournaments, there were a bunch of Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh players that had been banned from their respective games that all of a sudden popped back up again
Oh my goodness!
on the ladder in
What
Lorcana
a good
tournaments.
way to start a community.
Yeah, and then there was this whole fiasco about having too many inked cards. Oh no, I forgot. I already inked a thing this turn. I'll take that back. Kind of that repetitive misplay
Yeah.
is the most popular form of cheating now because, I'm so bad at this game. I totally forgot that I already played a land and tapped it for mana.
And I bet that's a lot easier too in games that are just starting out,
Yeah.
like Lorcana or like.
So anyone checking out Riftbound,
Yeah,
keep
that's
an
what I
eye
was
on your
gonna
opponents.
say. How many times is it okay to make the same mistake?
Yeah. Oh, I drew an extra card again. Yeah. So it's just kind of a thing that happens, but definitely at the remote platforms, it's so much easier to do. And it's
Yeah.
harder to catch your opponent too, because not everyone's used to playing on a webcam.
Oh yeah, no. See, I struggle with digital things in general. Like I have a hard time reading books digitally. Like I just prefer having like the physical thing in front of me. And I think there's this layer of it feels like I'm looking through a filter. Because I am, right? I'm looking through the filter of the screen to see the information in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's harder for my brain to identify what's happening. It feels flat because it is, right? And so I don't know. I don't know if that's just my brain or if other people have that same experience. But I think even if I get used to it, there's this level of like, I'm a lot more separated than I would be if I was in a physical game.
Yeah. I think that it's also kind of stepping back to Magic Arena and Magic Online. Playing on those digital platforms makes it both easier and harder to get good at Magic.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to keep track of all of the procedural things.
Yes.
There's a lot of weird little order of operations things that the computer takes care of for you. So then you're only focused on strategy, what cards your opponents have, what order to play your cards in, those aspects of the game. And you don't have to expend the mental energy on making sure that you untap things properly and you're keeping track of your triggers and all of those other things that happen automatically.
Yeah.
So in some ways it allows you to think a little bit more critically about the plays that you're making and the way that you play the deck.
Totally.
But when you go switching from that to physical Magic, I think there's a lot of other things you need to keep track of, which contributes to these misplays that we see in physical paper and why it's so easy to bluff that you've made a mistake because so many people legitimately make mistakes.
Yes.
Like, we see that all the time if you watch gameplay videos of Commander. There's constantly little notes. Oops, his life total should have been 14 and we didn't notice it at the time.
Yeah.
Oops, this thing should have triggered and he would have drawn an extra card, but
yeah,
it just happens. The game of Magic is complicated, especially when it gets into the late game with 4 people at the table.
Totally. Yeah. And I think there's some level, too, of, in competitive environments, capitalizing on the mistakes other people make. Right? If you miss a trigger, sorry, you missed that trigger. And there isn't that same level of, like, missing the trigger in computer settings.
Yeah.
It's like you have to actively be like, no, I am not doing this thing, which I know.
Would you like to gain a
life? I
life?
accidentally misclicked on that at one point during the game, and I was like, no. But yeah, no, I agree. I do think something that's really interesting about it, though, which I'm excited to test out. I haven't fully been able to do this yet. When we were playing the Avatar tournament, Sealed makes me nervous. I don't like being timed to deck build. That makes me very stressed.
Yeah.
I like having time to like evaluate what's in front of me and take the time to kind of like put things together.
Sure.
And feeling like I have a 40-minute time limit, as somebody who is like seeing a lot of cards for the first time, not so much in the Avatar set, but especially in previous sets where like I had done a lot less research into like what's happening for the pre-release.
Right.
I feel like I don't have time to fully think through this is what my deck is going to do and like kind of like shuffle around with the cards a little bit.
Sure.
Do like a quick, what's it called? Like fishbowl kind of thing?
Oh, like goldfishing.
Goldfish.
Yeah.
I always call it fishbowl because that's a different game. But yeah, I don't have time to like play through and be like, am I actually hitting my mana curve? Is this something where it like actually works? And I think part of that is I don't build decks all the time. That's not the part of Magic that I love. I like building decks when I'm excited about things. But you like building decks just to build decks. You like the theory crafting of building a deck.
Yeah.
I like the taking a deck and then making it better and do more what I want it to do over time. And you can't do that in the same way in like a sealed limited tournament. And so it's something that's really hard for me. So Arena was recommended to me at this sealed tournament because I was like, man, I would really like to practice sealed tournaments and get better. Yeah. But I don't necessarily know what the best way to do that is, except for maybe having like cube style sealed tournaments type thing. And one of my friends was like, oh, you should just play Arena. They do sealed tournaments. You can just practice kind of building your deck and see what it feels like and how it vibes and like see what the outcome is.
Yeah,
and you have a little more time to build, but then you can kind of get a little bit more used to putting those cards together. I really liked that. So I'm definitely gonna put that to the test, especially with this Avatar set.
Yeah. Again, the limited experiments, little experience is a little bit different on Arena because it's not timed. It's not 1v1. And also when you draft a deck, you're not guaranteed to play against the same people in that same circle. So you might be playing a green-red deck and facing 6 other green-red decks. But yeah, no, it's a good way to practice that. Yeah. Absolutely. So let's see. What else do we have on this? So this is kind of unrelated, but one of the things that I was thinking about this week, aside from digital play and all of this, is just the way that preview seasons kind of shift in and out. And right now we find ourselves in a weird position where previews for Lorwyn aren't really ramping up, but Avatar's already been released, so we have a moment just to enjoy this set. And I think it's been a few months since we've had that. Yeah. Because every set seems to be releasing at the same time that previews are starting for the next set. So we have this weird gap around the holiday season, and I think it's because the Final Fantasy stuff is coming out. So they wanted to give that a little bit of space to breathe.
Absolutely.
But it's so nice just to be able to play these cards and get a feel for them.
Yes.
And without thinking about what's coming next.
Totally. And I don't know if this is, again, I don't always pay the closest attention to new releases. But when I first started playing Magic, I remember there was a lot more time in like 2011, 2012. Yeah. In between like when new stuff would come out. And so I felt like I got to the point where even though I wasn't completely following like all of the new stuff that was coming out, I would get to know that release before the next thing came out. Yeah. So I had time to like adjust a little bit, even as somebody who wasn't like the most up to date. And even now, if I try to be up to date, I still feel like I'm not adjusted yet to Spider-Man or like anything that came before that. Yeah. And in fact, like it's so many things now. Sorry, I just had a sip and it was like the last little bit, so I got some of the spices at the bottom. So I'm like, but yeah, I'm having trouble like now tracking what came last and what's the most previous deck because all of it kind of feels recent.
I feel like the last few sets have kind of been an exercise in picking out the 2 or 3 cards that are good enough and just being really hard narrowed in on those 3 cards, saying these are the specific things. We're going to grab those and move on to the next set because there's other stuff that's coming. So Quantum Riddler, it's going in everything. Yeah. Move on. And now we have a moment to breathe. We can try out a few different things. There's a weird airbending combo that's popping up in Standard that looks really neat. And we don't know what's coming in Lorwyn just yet. We know a few of the cards.
Right.
But yeah, to your point about what happened in the past, we've almost doubled the number of standard releases we have per set, per year. And so that contributes to that, obviously. But also, I think that the preview season has expanded dramatically. They only used to preview like 20 or 30 cards out of the set.
Right.
But now...
they release like all of it, right?
Pretty much. But the other thing that they do that I actually really appreciate is they allow content creators to preview cards.
Yes.
So they'll hand out some of these cards to people way ahead of time, so that way they can do a variety of different styles of content, all sorts of crazy introductions to some of these cards, and it gives people an opportunity to kind of grow their audience and do that sort of thing.
Totally, yeah.
Which is super cool.
Yeah.
But it also means that preview season now lasts months instead of just the 2 or 3 weeks before set releases.
Totally, and the fact that they are releasing multiple sets in
in quick
that
succession.
amount in quick succession means that like even before the next one starts, you have to like start with the last one. Yeah.
It is also kind of funny because it very much changes the pre-release experience. Because you're going into the pre-release, if you want to, knowing every card in the set.
Yeah.
Whereas it didn't used to necessarily be that way. You could, I think they would usually post them a few days before. But generally, I found myself going to pre-releases knowing just a handful of cards and kind of discovering the rest of it on the spot.
Yeah, and I think that's been something that's really hard for me.
Yeah.
As somebody, I have a hard time memorizing cards, especially if I haven't played with them. If I play with the cards, then I remember what they do and I'll recognize them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But again, I don't love reading things in a digital format. And so when they
Sure,
do the
sure.
pre-releases, right, and I'm reading these things online, I feel like it takes me a little bit longer to have a better understanding of like what this actually does and what the impact is going to be on the set as a whole. And so I feel like my experience is I still go in with that same amount of like, I have a handful of cards that I'm like excited about and like maybe interested in.
Yeah.
And everybody else seems to know every card. And so it feels like I'm at a disadvantage. And that's not the reality.
No.
But that feels like the reality. Yeah. And so it can be really frustrating
Uh-huh.
as somebody who's like just not interested in that
Especially when you
experience.
play a card and they're like, ooh, you put that in? It's like, yes.
It's like, should I have?
Is this a bad card?
Oh, totally, yeah.
It seems fine.
Like, I built my deck, and they're like, can I see the stuff you, like, didn't put in this deck? And then they looked, and they were like, oh, okay, like, sure. But I was like, I don't like this.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it was fine, but yeah, no, there's definitely, like, I think some level of the, like, it no longer feels like the even playing field of everyone is discovering at the same time. It feels like if you want to do well, you have to do research ahead of time to kind of know what you're coming in with. And like being excited about the Avatar set, people were like, oh, so you've got like 3 or 4 decks kind of like in your brain of like what you could build maybe. And I was like, no. Like, is that how people think about this? No, I didn't do that.
People
Should I
coming
have
in
done
with
that?
handwritten notes of every color pair and what mechanics
Totally, and I'm
builds.
just like over here like I watched a video and I've been looking at the pre-release things, so like and I know how to play Magic. It's probably fine.
Yeah.
It was not fine.
You're like, don't worry, I'm prepared. I watched the entire Avatar series 2 days before the pre-release.
That is something that I did. I was so ready for lore questions. Unfortunately, there were not very many lore questions.
You're like, all right, this guy, his name is Jet. Let's talk about Jet.
Yeah, I know that, yeah. I was going to say at least nobody pronounced it like Ong or anything like that.
Oh, that would be such a good way to tilt your opponents,
oh my
though.
gosh. Katara.
All right, I'm going to airbend Ong when Appa comes into play. Then I play Mama.
Oh my god, I'm so uncomfortable. Please stop. Oh no, just only referring to things as the M. Night Shyamalan movie that does not exist of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That only using those pronunciations.
Yeah, or just those characterizations of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm going to play Sake. He's a terrible person.
Yeah.
He learns nothing.
Yeah.
To go back to the digital discussion
sorry.
here.
Yeah.
Something that's really changed about this with Arena being so popular, I think it's really cool that I can get a game in whenever.
Yeah.
but it feels like the formats, the competitive formats, especially in Standard, move so fast.
Yeah.
Already there's a whole new metagame that's shifted since the bans and the new avatar set being injected. And it's like already kind of settling into these are the top decks, these are the strategies that work, these are the ones that don't. And it's going to take a couple weeks, but a couple weeks, not like 6 months of weird turbulence.
Yeah, and there's not the same level of like a month into it, somebody discovers something that works really well that no one thought of before. It's like, no, everyone's seen everything.
Right. So it's very much changed the landscape of how these decks are built and tested. I think part of that is also just the Magic community is significantly larger, so you have a larger sample size.
Totally. I think part of it too, I'm curious because I feel like this shift has probably happened multiple times. Because it's gone not just from a physical format to a digital format, but then there's also like previous to that when you were able to get a hold of pretty much any card in Magic, which is something you can do now.
Yeah.
And that was not always the case. Like you had to put in a lot of effort to have access to every card in Magic. And so it wasn't like you could just play test everything all at once. Like you had to put in the effort to figure things out.
In Arena, if you pitch $50 at it for all of the packs you get up front, and then you're able to maintain a kind of steady supply of gold to pick up packs when you need it to complete the rest of it, you'll have enough wild cards to build all of the standard decks that you want to play. So if you're really committed to it, you're out like $50 per set, and you have full play sets of all of the relevant cards.
Yeah, which is basically like slightly more than the cost of a pre-release a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like you're just paying the pre-release cost. That seems super reasonable to me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So you're right. It's changed dramatically. I think the other thing that's changed is just the access to deck lists and seeing what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And that was one of the really novel things about super early on in Magic is people would have these decks that were real standouts in their
community
immediate region.
Yeah.
And as soon as they go to like a national tournament, they're running a deck that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah.
Because only that area knows about it.
Yeah, and also it's built to the metagame of that area. So then you show up at the regional tournament or at the larger tournaments.
Yeah.
And you're coming from a whole bunch of different areas that have very different metas.
Yeah.
Right? And then that amalgamation of decks is what causes the overall meta. And I do think that's something that's really interesting.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the funny things about CEDH and why I think it is popular for a lot of those old-timer Magic players is because it does have that element of regional diversity.
Yes.
Because it hasn't coalesced around, at least to the same degree, around specific top decks. Everyone knows how to play against Blue Farm. The Tim Necrom stuff, that's all really standard.
Sure.
Most people know a lot of the other like combo lists that are up near the top. But you'll have these weird pockets of specific stacksy, strange things that perform really well that only exist in certain locations and no one else is on it.
Super true. Yeah, and I think it's also interesting hearing different people's experience playing CEDH.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of people talking about CEDH like the majority of decks are turbo decks. And that's not my experience.
No.
You know what I mean? And so, like, I'm not sure if that's like a regional difference. What?
So, this is one of those things that is not generally true, but recently it has been.
Okay.
All of the big tournaments recently have been taken down by some like turn 2, turn 3 combo deck.
Sure.
Because every deck has the capability to pop off like that, but usually doesn't because people have the tools to interact
There's
with
a lot
it.
of control. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm playing the Gitrog Monster, which is black-green deck, and I still have some counters and answers to things that people are trying to do to pop off early on.
Yeah. In my mono black braids deck, I have multiple answers to like things.
You have a counterspell.
I have a counterspell. I've got a way to like make a person draw a card at instant speed.
Yep.
To try to like counter the like, oh, you decked yourself. Well, before you can win,
response
draw your
to
card.
Thoracle.
In response, you lose. You know what I mean? So like, there's even in this like super janky deck, which is not at all meta.
Yeah, right.
I still have thought of ways to like respond to some of those like turbo meta things to make the game last longer. So yeah, and I mean it's Staxy Braid stack. So
Yeah.
the goal is to
But
make the game
it's a
longer.
pendulum that swings.
Totally.
So people got really used to sitting on their hands, just kind of waiting the game out under a heuristic study, drawing a bunch of extra cards.
Yeah.
And then the decks came in that said, if I can get to 9 mana on turn 3, I can just win.
I mean, that's super valid. That's pretty much always true, though. I feel like if you can, at some point, if you can outvalue your opponent, especially quickly, you're probably going to win.
Well, that's the big triangle is aggro, combo, and control.
Yeah.
And right now, in Commander, there is no viable aggro deck.
No.
So you just get combo and control and sometimes a weird Staxy mid-range thing, and that's it. That's all that you really have access to. Because no aggro deck can put out 120 points of damage in 3 turns.
Yeah, and burn doesn't exist.
Nope. There is no count to 120 deck, like there is a count to 20 deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I like the way that the digital formats allow more people to get into Magic, and there's interesting pathways to move from that digital platform into a physical platform, and then ultimately, joining the gathering, being a part of those communities, which is so important. But it definitely changes the way that people play competitively and kind of does weird things with how people can join those competitive formats.
Yeah, and I didn't know that your competitive play in tournaments on Arena count in general.
What do you mean?
If you play an Arena in standard tournaments and you win enough of them,
you can qualify for real events.
Qualify for real events, which means that somebody who has never played Paper Magic can qualify for a Paper Magic event.
Yeah.
And that makes me so uncomfortable.
Oh, it's really funny because sometimes you'll see posts that are like, hey, I qualified for this thing. I don't own any physical Magic cards. Can I borrow someone's deck?
Oh, that makes my heart happy, but sad. Sad, happy.
Yeah. I don't actually know the process there.
If you qualify at some point,
they
you
should
should
just
give you a deck. They're actually, here's your print version.
Give us a list, we'll
deck.
print it out for you. Yeah,
exactly.
Let us know.
Well, yeah, even if they print it on a weird back or something where it's only legal for that tournament or something like that.
That would be so cool if they had Magic Arena exclusive cards where they can print your collection in Arena.
That would be very funny.
Oh man. No,
it had just a stamp on it that says Arena or something like that. Yeah.
It's got the old Arena promo stamp on it.
I think it'd be very funny if they released a secret lair with Arena only cards in it. Silver bordered, so they weren't legal anywhere.
I know they've done alchemy cards before and Arena specific cards. I have feelings on alchemy, but we'll cover that another day, because right now we are out of time. So, it is time to pass to the cleanup step. We'll see you next time.
Fast turn. I love the rain. It's so thematic.
I know.
You can see the drips. Oh, so nice. We should just put a hose all the time so it looks like it's always
on the
raining.
side of our house.
Just right here. Just for this, whenever we film this.
Oh, that'd be great.